In the previous demo, I've showed how to create an event streams on IBM Cloud. In this video, I'm going to use the toolkit for App Connect Enterprise, and I'm going to create an application that makes use of the Kafka Producer node. I will deploy it on-premise. It will be on my desktop. Then I'm going to use Postman to call this application that will put the data from a calculation in an event streams queue on IBM Cloud. In this demo, I'm going to try to connect App Connect Enterprise to event streams on IBM Cloud. In one of the previous demos, I've used a project, and I've exported that project, and I'm going to just import it and change it. So I'm going to do a file import, project into change project. Next, and this integration REST demo that I'm going to import. From in here, if I look at this, open with the message flow editor. This was my generated project. I'm going to look at my subroutine in here. I'm not going to send the message to MQ. Inside the compute node, I'm going to keep the same instruction. And for the Kafka Producer node, I'm going to set the following settings. For a topic name, I'm going to send to integration chit-chat. My Bootstrap service, I'm actually going to import from a policy. Inside the policy, I'm going to browse. There's only an MQ policy available. So I'm going to create a new policy. I'm going to create a new policy project. And policy name, I'm going to pick the type as Kafka, use a template of Kafka. For the Bootstrap servers, remember I saved it earlier out. What I've done in this file, I've taken all the Bootstrap servers, I've strung them together without the quotes around them. I'm going to copy them all. I'm going to paste them into the Bootstrap server. My security protocol that I need to use, because it's going to talk to event streams on the cloud, is going to be SASL SSL. And I'm going to call a security identity event streams. And for this demo, I'm just going to add this to the config.yaml file of the broker I'm going to deploy it in. I can save this now. Close that down. We're not going to pick here now. I can pick the Kafka policy to be used. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to run this project on-premise. So I'm going to actually create a local integration server. I'm going to call it test server 3. Use the default settings. Finish. As this server starts up, I can see it will be in my Integration Explorer down here. It says the local integration server has been started. It's using a work directory in my workspace. I can click there. It says press F5 or select file refresh to refresh the file. File refresh. There we see. Integration server, test server 3, starting initialization. All looks good. What I do need to do is add my security in here. So if I go on my application development, my test server 3 is there, and I look inside the overrides, there's a server.conf.yaml file in there. If I open that, you'll see my basic ports are specified there. Now the format for the local security will look something like this. What I do need to add in here is remember that my username is token. My username is token, and my password will be this password that I've copied from the from Event Streams security credentials. Copy that, add it in there. I can take this area, copy. Remember, I've set event streams inside my policy. Save that. To put it into effect, I need to stop and start the server. Okay, and now I can deploy. If I just deploy my application, I'm actually going to see an error this time. Let me show it. Drag and drop it in there. Click on here. It says the message flow node Kafka Producer requires Kafka policy of the type Kafka, which is not deployed. So you must also deploy this Kafka policy project before you can deploy. Dump that in there. That has been deployed. Now if I look, I see both is actually up and running. To test this environment, I prefer to test in the debugger. So I can right click on my integration server and say launch the debugger port. Waiting for the debugger to launch. That is good. I'm going to add a breakpoint after this node, and just to see that nothing else goes wrong, after my HTTP input in here, I'm going to add a breakpoint as well. So it should stop there when a transaction goes through. My endpoint is described in here, so I'm going to start my Postman. In Postman, I'm going to look at my endpoint. It says integration REST demo /v1. There's integration REST demo /v1. And in a previous demo, I've set this as calculate. My localhost 7800, running on my local machine. And the body that I'm sending in is the same body as the previous demos. Let me send. If I send, you see in here my debugger is kicking in. I say yes, please launch the debugger for me. And it will show that it's been stopping right there. I can have a look at the message. It's a JSON message, data, input data, and you see it's those two fields of values 7 and 5 that's coming in. I can forward. Just before the Kafka Producer, let me add a breakpoint after this as well. I can run. it is contacting the event stream server now, so it can take a few seconds. You see it actually came back successful from Kafka Producer, otherwise I would have been rolled back, and the message that it displays there should be my same message that was going in there. I haven't changed the data. It shows my answer information. This answer, of course, is this what is derived from this compute node over here. So let's finish this. That message has now been published to event streams.